let's get corrupted. What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Joe with Meteoric Serpents coming back at you for another episode of the Colubrid Corruption Podcast. Guys, it's great to be back. Episode 114 today. The numbers keep ticking up, seemingly. That's what happens when you do episodes. But yeah, it's great to be back. I hope you all had a fantastic week. Yeah, always excited to talk colubrids every weekend and have back one of our recurring guests tonight. I'm excited to chat and see what's been going on with him. But yeah, we're going to get into that soon. If it's your first time listening to Colubrid Corruption, guys, make sure you leave a like on today's episode. Make sure you hit subscribe here on the channel. It really helps out. Share it out with a friend who's into colubrids. Just click on that little share button on the YouTube and send it over to them. That would be super appreciated. Subscriber count keeps ticking up. I appreciate you guys. Let's keep getting those numbers up. I know there are people listening who don't subscribe, so please do so if you're logged into YouTube. I appreciate it. You can check this podcast out on all the major audio podcasting platforms like Apple, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube Music, all that good stuff. If you do listen on there, please give it a 5-star rating. Drop a review. Again, share with a friend. It really helps out. All of the important links to everything are in the description, especially if you want to follow me on social media or find me anywhere. You could also just type Meteoric Serpents pretty much everywhere, and my accounts will pop up. If you want to reach me, Instagram is probably the best place to do so. So feel free to follow me on there. That way you can stay up to date with what's going on with the podcast and my collection and things like that. Also, I talk about my collection a lot on here, especially as of late. So, yeah, follow along. But yeah, and let's see here. Guys, if you are looking for a good cause in the colubrid community to contribute to one that's especially conservation oriented, you should check out the CCR Conservation Fund. Again, Dr. Loafman and his students are out there doing great work. It's a official 501c3 that is going directly towards colubrid conservation. So you could get the tax deduction at the end of the year, or just donate some money, whatever it is, and you want your money to go to a good cause. The Conservation Fund is awesome. All the proceeds at the Colubrid Fest auction also go to this. And speaking of that, guys, Colubrid Fest is coming up every week. This goes by. It just keeps getting closer. September 25th through 27th in Evansville, Indiana. I'm super excited. I will be there, as I've said. Yeah, just really looking forward to it. I'll be definitely doing a lot of, I think I've said it, but a lot more of a content-oriented thing, probably some live podcasting, also some video taking. I want to try to get the word of Colubrid Fest out there on YouTube as much as I can. So probably going to be doing a lot of that while I'm there. But if you see me, come say hi. I won't bite, I promise. But yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing and meeting everyone there. Guys, you can find, along with like my social media links, you can find the link to the guest's Instagram in the description. So definitely go check that out. Make sure you're following Steven if you don't already. Definitely some good stuff. Also in the description, you will find the first link in there. It takes you to the Meteoric Serpents Patreon. It's a great way to support what I have going on here, both with the podcast, my collection, and things like that. A lot of cool perks, including a Discord group chat, exclusive access, early access to things I don't show the public as much, ad-free podcast episodes, all the good stuff. Go check out the perks. Cheapest membership is $5 a month, and it definitely supports the show. So if anyone does want to join and support, it really means a lot. And big thank you to all my Patreon members, because you're all amazing. And before we get into our guest tonight, just want to say a quick thank you to our sponsor, David Deem over at Temporalis Enterprises. Guys, if you're looking for your next milk snake project, look no further than David Deem at Temporalis Enterprises, producing some of the best locality milk snakes in the game, in my opinion, honestly. Every time he posts, I'm just always looking forward to it. He's producing great stuff. You can find his Instagram in the description. When you go to that, also sign up for his email list. That way you can stay up to date with what he's hatching, producing, all that good stuff, and have first access to anything he's producing. So big shout out and thank you to David at Temporalis Enterprises. Again, go follow him. If you're looking for your next Milk Snake project, look no further. And I'm extremely excited to announce a new sponsor, which if you're watching the video version, you can see it in the corner here. But Colubrid Corruption is now sponsored by Phenome Precision Genetics. Guys, I'm extremely excited about this partnership. Phenome is taking the DNA shed testing world by storm. My opinion, I really love their service. I like these guys. I like what they're doing over there. The thing is that they don't have a lot going on right now in terms of colubrids, but they're looking to greatly expand that, which is why I really like this partnership. They're asking for pretty much all the sheds that they can get for research. Right now, they're especially looking for known sexed animals. That way they can get a universal colubrid sex test out, along with the fact that they're definitely looking to expand on, genetic mutations for certain species. So the more we send in, the more research that will be put in to identify this stuff. And if you guys know, they recently released the chondro or green tree python sex determination tests. They have a lot going on with the ball python mutation. So I just know there's big things to come with colubrids, but it has to come a lot from the community. So I'm asking all of you, when you get your extra colubrid sheds, I put all the instructions in the description below. You could also check out their website, but check it out of how to label the animals and where to send them. And really looking forward to this partnership. So thank you to Phenome. But yes, without further ado, what's up to the chat? Thank you all for being here tonight. And let's welcome on our guest and say what's up to Steven. What's up, man?
How's it going, dude? Happy to be here.
Yeah, good to have you back. Third year in a row, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like things are always progressing with you and your collection. So I kind of just want to hear an update of what's up, what's going on with you and the collection since the last time we spoke, which was over a year ago, by the way.
Okay. I mean, kind of a lot. I probably since the last time we've talked, I've done a good bit of kind of specializing, selling some side projects that weren't super high priority to really focus on the main stuff I have going on. Trying to shrink the collection to a size that is more manageable in the sense where I can pay a lot more attention to individual animals, individual projects. Make sure just like the success ratio is higher. So I've been doing a lot of that. Just trying to get things dialed in.
Yeah. I don't want to. You're doing that episode with Patrick. Is that this Wednesday?
Yeah.
About specializing versus diversifying.
Mm-hmm.
I won't make you dive too much so you don't have to repeat yourself on Wednesday. But for you, what does that kind of look like? Is it just the species you really want to work with, or what does that kind of look like, especially within your collection, because you have a lot of diversity and many species?
Sure. Yeah, I'm still, I think I'm in the low 30s right now, species count wise. So to me, it kind of looks like focusing on the scrub pythons and letting everything fit around that.
Sure.
They're at this point probably about half of my collection currently, where I'd like for that to be a little bit higher percentage-wise going forward. And then the colubrids and then the venomous are about at the same level, although I'm kind of actively trimming the venomous back a bit, and not as much with the colubrids, where I'm happy where I'm at for the most part with them. So I don't know if I'd ever go to just fully scrub pythons. I think I'm interested in too many different things to have just one sole focus. but especially with how much I've already put into them, I just feel like I owe it to myself and to the project to like really, really be dedicated to it. I mean, this last season, or this current season in progress, is the first one where I like really made a extreme effort to do the scrub python thing to the highest degree, and it's been paying off, and I know that it can get better too. So I just, I saw that, right, I got rid of a lot of extra, I don't want to say, extra projects, side projects,
Sure.
pair of this here, pair of this there, and it allowed me to have a lot more focus on those animals. And as I continue to do that, I just know that I'll, the animals I still have will be able to get that much more mental focus. And then, at the end of the day, this is what I'm doing for a living. So I got to maximize my output for the input. And if I feel like it's not working out properly, then I feel like that means that I need to do something differently.
Yeah, I hear you. No, it's hard, man. Especially like you are a reptile guy. Like you love your reptiles. So like sometimes you can have that, that pair of a random species that like you love that species, like you want to keep it, but sometimes it just doesn't fit in properly where you can allocate that space towards something else that's like synergizing a lot better with the rest of the collection. So I feel the same thing sometimes. Like it's hard. Like I have a couple pairs of this and that there where I'm like, I think back at it and I'm like, I could make that room for like more Texas rats or more of something else I have. But, sometimes we like to have those little extra things.
Yeah, 100%. And for me at this point, I look at things and I'm like, all right, if I got rid of this pair or whatever, this little project, how easily could I get it again? And that's kind of a barometer I go off of.
That's a good one. That's something I don't think a lot of people actually think of.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, with almost everything in the hobby, the answer is typically yes, as like you can get a project or a species or whatever back at some point. For me, with the scrub pythons, just not the case.
Definitely.
So many animals I have that I could never get back if I wanted to. And then probably second to that would be some of the spilotes I have. If I got rid of them, I probably couldn't get them again. So to me, that's like a high priority. And then, like I said, most of what I have, I could very well, in theory, get that species again some point down the line. And, for me, the thought of narrowing down, specializing, focusing, who knows how long it's going to last? Give it 5 years. I could be like, all right, I want to diversify again.
Right.
It's not like closing the book on that chapter, more just like trying this for a change, because right now this is the smallest and least diverse my collection has been in 8 years.
Okay.
So, and I'm looking at what'll probably end up being my best breeding season yet. So to me, that's a direct 1-to-1 correlation. So if I'm going for those productive breeding seasons, then I think I should keep heading in that direction. And like, I want to do it too. It's not like I'm like, oh, I'd love to keep doing this, but I feel like I have to do this. Like, no, like I feel compelled to do this. Like, this is what I want to do. I'm glad that this is kind of the mindset change I'm undertaking.
Have you like missed those certain animals or species maybe that you moved on from, or are they kind of just like, again, just like extras that were there? Like you enjoyed keeping them, of course, but like,
I guess I don't have any regrets yet.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Cool.
Yeah. Maybe one day it'll happen, but it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. No, sure. Now you said like, kind of being locked in. You think just having the less variety and just sheer amount of everything led you to just, whether it was cycling or whatever, just allowed you to like go through the motions of like breeding seasons and cycles like a lot more efficiently?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think just like a mental bandwidth kind of thing.
Right.
Some people do it very effectively. I found that I'm not the best at like, all right, I have these animals I can separate into 10 different categories of how they need to be cycled, how they need to be fed, how cool they need to get at what time, etc. Some people can juggle all of those balls at the same time. I found that I can only juggle a few balls at any one time.
Gotcha.
And honestly, another aspect of it is feeders are damn expensive.
Yeah.
And that is a bottleneck at some point, especially if you're not producing at the level you need to. So I still produce a majority of what I feed to my animals, but I don't
like jumbo rats, basically, right?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I buy medium, large, and jumbo rats, which is still a decent amount. I'm lucky I have a good friend locally who does rats, so I'm able to source them very, very, in a very favorable way. So that's like a best kind of case scenario setup as far as that goes, but nonetheless, still expensive. And just because I know that I'm not compromising the scrub pythons within this, like that bill is going to be static. So if I can minimize my needs in other areas, I'm like, all right, I can double up like a small rat size soft fur on some colubrid that might need a medium.
Right.
Boom, done. So at this point, I'm pretty much feeding everything that's not a scrub python that needs a medium rat or bigger is getting something that I produce, whether it be a mouse, an ASF, or a quail. And I kind of lost where I was going a little bit, but I can get it back. So yeah, this the cost of feeders, having a smaller collection is better for that. With the scrubs in particular, but really for everything. The meal timing, meal size, all that stuff is seeming pretty important. So just having enough mental energy to give all that the right attention, keep the proper notes on everything that I have going on. And honestly, even like during breeding season, just having like enough mental clarity and kind of time of like, I might walk through that room 10 times during the day just to see how everybody's acting. Sure. Are females acting extra hungry? Are they heat seeking? Are they cool seeking? Or whatever? Are pairs courting? Whatever it may be. I think that also just was a big aspect of it as well, just being able to pay more attention. So I think just there's a lot of things that have been working in the right direction with that. And I just keep finding the more I slim down the collection, the better things go.
Okay.
So
actually, even like numbers wise, you're down. You didn't like sell off and replace them with other things. Okay.
No, absolutely not. I've a little earlier this year, before baby started, of course, I got below 200 snakes for the first time in forever. Okay. And now my goal, like with after breeding season, after holdbacks, is to be at like 150. Okay. And just see how that goes for a little while. I thought it would be impossible to get below 200, and I did, and I was like, if the lower the numbers go, the better things get. So let's continue the trend and see what happens.
Yeah, man. I mean, like quality over quantity, like absolutely works sometimes. Like, I've said it, and I know this is probably true for you. I know you don't like post a ton of animals on Morph Market, but like there are people that like don't even need to do that, and like they pump out, I don't know, whether it's like 20 to 40 clutches a year of just really high quality animals, and guess what, they sell them every single year, and like they get top dollar for it because people go for their name and reputation and stuff, like, and people are going to you for that, and I know they are. So if you're having better breeding seasons from reducing quantity, which means you're having more quality, so like in turn it's just all better for you.
Yeah, so far it seems that way. And yeah, that's kind of the goal, is find myself at a level where it's like I can be consistent with these animals, produce them every year, kind of be able to rely on, okay, I'm gonna be able to produce this many babies that I can, this is the market for them. Just try to make it reliable and consistent, and take the steps I need year over year to kind of get closer to that goal.
Gotcha. At this stage with where you're at, what out of the scrub pythons, especially, like what's been the most consistent for you? I would assume barnecks are some of the ones that are like just
Yeah.
absolute staples.
Yeah, they're the ones I produce the most of. They're the ones I have the most of. Yeah, yeah. At this point, definitely the bar next would be that as far as the scrubs
Okay,
go.
nice. Which other ones have you? Because I know you've produced, and I'm sorry for not remembering better, but
Oh,
like which
yeah.
other ones are you? Have you been at least relatively consistent with now?
Good question. Let me even try to think about it. I guess the only other type of scrub I've produced so far in different years would be like the southern scrub pythons.
Okay,
I've a different kind of varieties, 3 different years on those, and then
I think that still applies as at least semi-regular. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
there.
sure.
Yeah.
They'd be the only other one. Talk to me in a few months. I might have a different answer for you, uh,
Okay.
or a couple months. But then, I mean, I had the 2 Tannenbar scrub clutches this year, which puts them in a category of I've produced them multiple times, even though they're hatched a week
Nice.
apart. Um, but yeah, I'm slowly kind of chipping away at the list of what I can breed. There's only a couple types left that I can breed that I haven't yet.
Okay.
So
Very nice.
yeah, and then some that I can't breed that I haven't yet,
Okay.
which hopefully one day I can, but do not have the animals in the collection. So
Sure. All right. Very cool. Um, and I guess that'll segue us to colubrids. What's going on with colubrids this year?
yeah, so just got the first hatching going over the last week with the Kankakee bull snakes. Pretty happy about that. I
Yeah.
love those. They're so badass. Um, things are going solid. Could be better, could be worse. Pituophis should be pretty solid, but totally shit the bed on Spilotes this year. I have theories as to why. I can't really prove any of it, but yeah, very
Okay.
disappointing. I've had slug outs. I've had females reabsorb. Went from the high last year having a couple of good clutches to the lows this year, throwing out a bunch of slugs and just
Yeah.
scratching my head of like what the hell happened. So
It's all right. I threw out my first rhino slugs a few weeks ago, so
yeah,
it happens to us.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, so Pituophis have definitely become, from what I've noticed, like a big focus on your colubrid side.
for sure.
Um, what is it about that? Because like you've always, or at least with regularity, you've been producing the Janai,
Yeah.
the Mexican pines, and the bulls are a little more recent to you, right? Like you raised those guys like the last few years and just got them up to size this year.
Yeah, I got a group of Kankakees back in 2024, and they were like 3 years old at the time.
All right.
So packed some size onto them to get them going for the next year. Got some clutches, really bad results, poor fertility. I just think some of them weren't quite big enough. I don't think I was feeding them quite enough.
Sure.
And as part of my kind of collection revision of last year, I decided to just keep one pair, like my best pair. I think I had 3.4 adults at the peak, and just decided to keep a pair of the Kankakees. That's pretty much my goal with all of my pits, is just have a pair that I really like. Keep some holdbacks, this and that, but like I don't really have the impulse to produce like 4 clutches, a Janai or something like that.
Sure.
I mean, the thing about Pituophis, they're fantastic snakes. They're incredible, but at the same time, I hate that I'm talking like this, but there's some practical matters of doing this. Like they're a much lower profit margin genus than a lot of other snakes because they don't sell for crazy money. They sell for good money, but you got to put a lot of food into them. They eat you out of house and home. So having a lot of adult Pituophis costs a lot to feed, especially once you're getting into like northern pine snakes, black pine, stuff like that eat like a medium to a large rat once a week. And then with some species like black pines, not super high production. So, to me, I find it a project that's great to be like a smaller scale.
Yeah.
And just kind of leave it like that. Like I can produce all the rodents I need to feed them currently.
Yeah.
So I'm not needing to like spend extra money on doing that. And, aside from that, like with how many scrubs I have, I just don't have I should not have another huge project.
Okay.
Like I had that for a while with my rattlesnakes, right? I had like 100 rattlesnakes, and it was just way too much. Like it was just completely unnecessary. I had sometimes 3 pairs of a specific locality or something like that, and just was like, what, why? Like there's no real reason for this, especially when like, okay, I have 30 bar necks. That's a lot of snakes.
Yeah.
Why do I need 30 banded
snake.
rock rattlesnakes? Yeah, that too. Like, why do I need 30 banded rock rattlesnakes or 30 Pituophis or something like that as well? It's like, and honestly, when it comes to the side projects, the smaller they are, the more enjoyable they are, because it can be a little bit more hobby like as well.
Yeah.
If you have like one, like an ARS rack of all just like the same exact snake, I've never had that, but I'd have to imagine it feels like work, where every tub you're like Ocean County pine, red northern, Kentucky, black pine, Mexican pine. It's like, it's cool. It's like you get to experience what makes that genus so fantastic, right, but at a scale where it's like it just can't feel like work because there's just not that many of them. So it's just a lot more fun that way.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Gotcha. What else is cooking on the colubrid side, or not even cooking, but like what else are you still keeping in terms of colubrids besides the pits? Yeah. Well, Spilotes, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, not much.
Okay.
At the current moment, I have a couple pairs of mangrove snakes that I'm kind of wrestling with, parting ways with, to specific people. And then I have my pair of blue beauty snakes.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's I'm like looking around. I'm thinking, I think it's really just that. I have my Spilotes, I have my pits, and then I have the few mangroves and the blue beauties.
All right. A lot of scrubs over there.
Yeah. Yeah, quite a few with the babies right now, decently over 100 at the moment. So
okay. Yeah, that's legit. That's legit.
It's pretty insane.
Yeah.
And like 50 of them are like adults. So it's there's a lot of snake. Yeah.
Yeah. I forget if we've talked about this in the past, but how have you gone about separating like the species when it comes to brumation and like cycling and stuff? Because
sure,
again, forgive me for not remembering. I'm not sure what it is you do with scrubs, if it's just kind of like day-night cycling, kind of like that during the off season, so if you will. But how do you separate stuff?
Sure, no, that's a great question. So I have a handful of rooms around the house. My garage, I fully converted it, and it's that's like the main scrub room.
Okay.
I have most of my adults in there, and then this room that I'm in currently has some smaller adults. So with the scrubs, they don't get a super dramatic temperature variance. The coldest that they'll get is like 70 at night, kind of back in the upper 70s during the day. So nothing too crazy there. And then for the for like the pits, I just put them in my rattlesnake room that is also brumating at the same time.
Okay.
Put them in some tubs, put them in there for a few months, and then with the rattlesnakes, it's a much more gradual down, gradual up than with colubrids. Some people right in, right out. Yeah. So I kind of ease them in, but there's only so much I can really do. So it's more or less kind of like a right in, right out type of deal with them, but doesn't seem to have any negative effects. And then this room right here that I'm in, when those snakes, the Pituophis, which are in here, go into that room for brumation, this room kind of cycles the same way that the garage will. We'll get into the lower 70s at night, kind of upper 70s during the day. That the the coldest point. But then at the warmer points, particularly this room doesn't get above 80. So it's not getting too hot for the pits, but still plenty warm for the scrubs. And especially the scrubs will have like their LEDs and stuff in the cages that boosts it a little bit, gives you like a degree or two. And then I have my Spilotes in like what would be my dining room, essentially. So I don't take them nearly as cold as I do the pits, and just kind of let that room naturally just cycle down at night, where maybe up here on the second floor, the heat will kick on. Usually it doesn't really kick on at night. So downstairs.
Yeah, because I was gonna say you don't do like a true brumation on Spilotes and the Central American stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. They'll get, maybe into like the mid 60s at night or so, and then back into like the low to mid 70s during the day. For about a 10-week period, fasting during that period. So,
got it.
But I mean, shoot, didn't work. So,
yeah.
But it worked last year. So I replicated to the exact same. Honestly, I think I may have overfed them heading into breeding.
Interesting.
I think that may have been a part of it.
Okay.
Yeah. But
yeah, I mean, look, you had your success with them. Like sometimes I know we like expect these animals to go for us every year, but they may or may not in the wild. Like we have to accept that stuff just like doesn't always work in our favor. So like it's not always our fault, So
yeah, and I have a mixture of younger and older animals. So I had like some females that are probably 10 plus years old, and then some females that are like 4, right about ready to go. So yeah, I mean, there's always next year, I guess. I know I have a couple things I can do to try to improve on this year's process, but Spilotes have never been a colubrid that's been produced in large numbers in captivity.
No, absolutely.
So, I got myself into a colubrid that's not a typical colubrid that just breeds and breeds and breeds. So
yeah. Do you hold back some babies that you produce?
Yeah, I did. I held back a pair from each clutch that I produced, and they're doing fantastic. So
awesome.
Yeah, definitely glad I did. There was not a doubt in my mind that I would, but yeah, I'm definitely happy I kept some of them back. So
yeah,
at least I have that generation going forward.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good topic to kind of hit on, is like just being sure about like keeping holdbacks and stuff, because I feel like some people can be very good, almost too good at keeping holdbacks, but then some people can be just awful at it and sell stuff off, and like, shit can really hit the fan where like you absolutely regret selling stuff that you had prior. So for you, what is like holdback selection kind of look like for you across everything?
Sure. Yeah. So I've ran into those regretful moments with colubrids. With the scrub pythons, I've definitely been an over holdback kind of guy up until this point, but now I've reached the level where I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
You can't keep these things in CV70s. So I'm much more selective, but I also don't need to mass hold back either at this point. I have more than enough captive bred breeding stock to last me. So be much more selective, which I'm happy about. So yeah, with them, it's always been err on the side of keep too many, and then you can always sell holdbacks later on if you want to as well. I have up until now screwed that up with colubrids, where like back when I was breeding blue beauties, I never held any back, and then my female kind of really suddenly went sideways on me and went downhill, and then like, all right, now I'm looking at like a 3-4 year gap within production of blue beauty snakes. And as far as those animals go, it kind of came at an okay time, considering prices dropped. They are produced like freaking crazy. I
definitely a little weird on them these days.
Yeah, I kind of caught it at an interesting time where like I got my original animals when they were still not super popular. They're very reasonably priced. And then by the time I was breeding them, there was that kind of groundswell of attention on them. So I was selling babies for like 3 to 4 times what I originally bought mine for, and now they're down closer to where I originally.
Yeah.
Not quite, but a little bit higher. So, but I saw some babies on Morph Market that John Nygren produced from some animals that I produced, and I saw these babies. I'm like, these are the nicest baby blue beauties I've ever seen. They're just like deep blue jean blue as babies. I'm like, man, I should have held some back.
Yeah.
What was I thinking? And then I did that with the Jani as well. I didn't hold anything back the first 2 years I bred them.
Mm.
And seeing some pictures of ones I've sent to people after the fact, I'm like, what the hell was I doing? So I held back a pair last year. They're doing fantastic, just gorgeous. I plan on holding a pair back this year if all things go well, particularly because I don't think I've produced a baby yet that looks like mom did as a baby. And, you know, a lot of people really love that female that I have, and myself included. So I'd love to be able to hold back at least one, shoot, maybe two that really resemble her, to be able to kind of get a next generation going. But if I can pull that off this year, I'll probably leave it at the couple of holdback pairs, maybe try to trade some in the future for other lineages or something like that, diversify that a bit. But then again, like I said, I don't want to be producing like 5 clutches of them a year. Like I love how it goes currently, where I have my one clutch, I have my wait list, they're gone. Everyone's got to wait until next year again. So
yeah, you know, it's funny with Jani because I feel like people really like. I mean, I think they're fantastic animals, and like I'm really not a Pituophis guy. I think they're amazing looking, but like I know of a few people who produce 1 or 2 clutches a year, and like that's all I know about. So I'm like, if they're getting bought up this much, like I bet the demand is higher for them. So like those are just things I find interesting when I think about it.
Well, what I find interesting about the Jani is that, and I haven't looked at it for a while, but typically during like the baby season, you go into Morph Market and it's the pine snake that is the most prevalent on Morph Market.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
And that honestly, that's my fault because I don't go looking in that section a lot.
No, dude,
so I wouldn't know.
I might open Morph Market once or twice a month at best. So I'm bad at not keeping tabs on anything that's not the scrubs. But I you know, I sell mine for typically more than they go for on Morph Market, and I've never had to post one up on there. So I look at that and I'm like, okay, well, that's because there's limited amount available. So if I had 50 babies, I would lose this luxury that I have currently when I have like 10 to 20 available at any point in time. So, you know, it's interesting. I think it's cool that I've kind of found that little spot within that market. And I think, you know, there's plenty of other examples of people who have like a particularly exceptional pair of whatever it may be, where sure, there's other animals on the market, but people see those adults and are like, oh my gosh, I want ones from that pair. And they go much quicker than others. And I think that it's something people should kind of keep in mind as well, developing a collection or whatever of like, you know, keep what you want, but if you could find some exceptional animals and really market them properly, it's going to work out well in your favor.
Definitely. Going back to the holdbacks thing, I'm almost, I mean, with what I have going on right now, obviously like it sucks, but like there are some like good things to take away from it. Like this year I've produced, or I'm on the way to produce the most animals I have, but at the same time, I'm also forced to hold everything here like until further notice. So like this is the first time I'm going to get to really like evaluate this many babies, really select the best ones with some age on them, and then like decide what to do with the rest, whether it's even keep additional ones and like be really strong about holdbacks. Like I think, and I said it last year, like coming into this year, like I'm gonna be better about holdbacks. Like I need to strengthen like what I have going on, especially with genetics and stuff. But yeah, so it's it's good to do that sometimes.
Yeah, it never hurts to keep extras because you can always sell them at a later date if you really need to or want to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I've had scrubs that I've held back for 5 years that I've sold at 5 years old.
Yeah.
Just were like, do I really need 6 males from this clutch? Like, no, I don't need 6 males from any clutch.
Right.
But and with a species like that takes forever to really change, sometimes you need that long to know for sure what you're holding on to, because the last thing you want to do is make like an educated guess early on, send an animal out, and then in hindsight be like, I sent the best one out. What the hell am I doing? So
yeah. I'll be curious about that for you. Like, you said raising an animal to like 5 and then selling it. Like, do people go? Well, I'm sure they do, especially if they're captive bred. But like, are people looking for scrubs like that? Or a lot of people looking for adults?
not really. Most people are looking
No.
for younger animals.
Okay.
I think if I were to quantify it, I would say maybe it's like, at least for the people who come to me, 60-40, 65-35 people who want a pet versus people who want to breed them. And I've never had anybody hit me up like, I want a collection like yours. So, for better or worse, it seems like a lot of people who are interested in them want a really cool pet or a pair, 2-3 pairs, something like that.
Sure.
And it makes sense. They're big animals. They take up a lot of space. So
Yeah.
if you're not a complete psychopath like me and have major portions of your house completely dedicated to these giant cages, there's only so many you can really have. But shoot, I lost it again. What was the question?
Talking about like selling adults.
Yeah. Okay, so that 35% who want to breed them, yeah, it could be pretty enticing, especially proven breeders or captive bred adults, for sure. Just there's much smaller market, relatively speaking, to the market of people who want young animals, but then much more motivated buyers who would be interested in those.
Gotcha. Now, this one's an interesting question, and I don't know if you exactly have an answer to it, honestly, but especially someone like you who keeps a larger species that scrubs are. But like, so you have the collection you have now, you have all these adults that are producing babies for you, you have these holdbacks on the grow up, getting ready to eventually enter your breeding program. What happens? Maybe, and again, this is why I said you might not have the answer right now, but like, what happens if you run out of space? Like, which animal would be going first? Would it be the older animal that's like been proven for you multiple times over, or would you actually maybe part with the younger animal who you think might actually be better for your collection long term? Like where does that line get drawn? Because again, you only have so much limited space, and with scrubs, Absolutely. It's not like I could just add another cage somewhere. Like it's a big undertaking.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and it's very case by case. So what I've done so far is kind of been replacing wild caught animals with captive bred animals.
Got it.
And then I'm, for better or worse, unfortunately, in the world of wild caught pythons, they sometimes have their clock runs out. Essentially, you don't know how old these animals are when you're getting them in. I definitely have some that are probably pushing 20 years old that are wild caught. So
oh wow,
cage space naturally opens via that attrition, but that's that's a minor factor, but still one nonetheless. I've definitely sold adults. I've sold proven pairs that had just bred for me that year, but I have stuff coming up that's captive bred. So but yeah, I mean, I'm getting to a point soon where I'm like, all right, I have all these captive bred adults and all these captive bred holdbacks, and one of my main answers, and yeah, Timothy in the comments kind of nailed it. Yeah, get a bigger house. At some point, that is going to be the answer to the question.
Yeah.
Is get a bigger
I was gonna
house.
say it may not be realistic, but I mean it's an answer, but I don't know.
Yeah. And then honestly, that's a big reason why I'm kind of getting rid of some of the other stuff I'm working with.
Sure.
Is kind of a long-term play of like, hey, eventually I'm going to need my like a square footage equivalent of my garage is like a second adult room. So,
right.
Eventually having less need for other climates or whatever will, or even just space for animals in general, will make up for that. And then another thing too is, I'm still really figuring out how to breed these animals. So once I feel a lot more confident that I know how to get them to go, within reason, I won't need quite as many adults. At this point, with bar necks, with some of the southerns, I don't need more holdbacks. Like I have plenty of them. So
yeah,
for an animal to become a holdback, it needs to be pretty special and from a particular breeding, or like, now for the bar necks, let's say, aside from a couple special individuals, I can't see myself keeping an animal that's not F2, at least from here for the next handful of years before I get to the point of making F3s. So then it's about, all right, what advances the project in the direction that I'm trying to take it in as well. And then, like there's certain types like the more standard brown and tan southerns. I just don't have very many of them because so many people work with them. So I kind of prioritize cage space on animals that are not quite as common in the hobby. For one, like the Halmaheras, they're probably the one that I have the second most of, next to barnecks, and they're still very uncommon, still very seldomly bred. So that's a big focus for me. Another one will be the Tannenbar scrubs. As you remember being in Florida, the restrictions are pretty nutty on these, and shoot, New York as well. So the species that I can send to keepers in these markets where most of the scrubs are not legal are ones that I'm prioritizing. They just, especially those two species, that so happen to be smaller, so I can fit more of them in less space.
Okay.
Instead of having 6-foot cages, 4 and 3-foot cages are the same, just as comfortable for those snakes, so they stay smaller. And then with time we'll just kind of keep adjusting, but eventually I'm going to definitely need more space, and being able to just dedicate more to them is going to be a big part of it, both from a time standpoint and just from a physical square footage standpoint.
Got it. Yeah, and that question I think is important for everyone to think about, and like I thought it's good for you, especially like just with a larger species or group like scrubs, but like I feel like it's something not a lot of people think of, especially the ones who like got into the hobby more so in like the last few years. It's like they get all these baby snakes, they start raising them up. Are they getting to adult size or not? Or are you selling a bunch off, like whatever? And then it's like, are you constantly flipping adults to make room for the new ones growing up? Or like, are you keeping ones long term? And I don't know. In the ball pythons, I think they're seeing more of that probably, where it's just like recycle adults as fast as possible. But no, colubrids, I think, and stuff like scrubs, like I think provide so much long-term value over time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things I like about them so much. Both the scrubs and the colubrids that I keep more stable markets. Where the offspring you're producing from a certain pair aren't going to be obsolete in a year or two because of morphs and all that bull crap. So, I'll definitely be at a point where I have more adults than I need, but honestly, especially with a lot of these captive bred ones, there are going to be some that, from like a phenotype standpoint, just don't really measure up with some of the younger ones I've kept. But like will just be such special animals to me that I have no choice but to keep them.
Yeah, of course.
So, like there's like I have some scrubs right now, some adults that like I'm never going to breed them. Just practically, it's just not going to happen. But I could never get rid of them either. So they're doing their thing. They're hanging out, and I'm more than happy with that too. But you need to account for that as well, space wise, time wise, everything.
Gotcha. With scrubs, just again being the snakes that they are, the size that they are, how well, and granted, there's not a lot of people captive breeding them, to be fair, and you're like probably one of the most prominent, but like just market wise, how have they been doing for you? Are you able to like move ones you make available relatively easy?
Yeah. I mean, for instance, right now I don't have any available. Well, yeah, I have some babies I'm still establishing that will become available. But like at the current moment, if somebody was like, "Hey, I want a scrub python this week," I could be like, "Sorry."
Okay.
But so yeah, I mean, all things considered, been good.
I mean, that's great.
Yeah, it really depends on the locality and the species as well. Certain types are like fly off the shelf kind of thing. Some more like a lot of demand, but it's going to be a steady trickle of sales. Some may take a little bit longer just because there's just more of them in the market. So it's dynamic. There's a lot of different, all the different species and localities all have a bit of a different market, different amount of demand going on with them. But overall, it's a majority of what I sell, and I'm 3 years plus in, still able to do this for a living. So
yeah,
going well enough.
Are your granted, I know you've produced more, but like, are your Barnecks in more demand, or stuff like the Halmaheras and the Tannenbars, like the smaller stuff?
Yeah, the Barnecks are in more demand, but they're not quite the Tannenbars. They're not quite the Halmaheras. And then I'd have to imagine the Moluccans as well. Still haven't produced those. I've kind of figured out like a little line that I'm going to probably use going forward. Like, one of two things will happen. I'll either breed Moluccan scrubs or I'll die. Those are the only two options. Because I've tried, this is my 6th year. I still have nothing to show for it. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of not having great animals to do it with. But I have.
Because what, you have a pair? You have like more?
What do I have right now? I have 3.4 currently.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you had smaller than that, honestly, because if you had a smaller amount, I would say like, yeah, the animals.
They're not all adults, so
okay.
1.2 of them are like yearling, year and a half. I got those last year. I was very lucky to be able to get my hands on those. This girl who's up here, she's 4.5 years old. She was produced in late 2021. 5 years
still
old.
Not even like breeding.
Yeah, like she did like a half-ass cycle this year, which a lot of females will do the first year that they're mature enough. So like she is the one that I'm really like, okay, this is like the first really, really good shot I have.
Okay.
The first one that I've raised from a baby, where the other animals that I've had to attempt, I've received as frankly overweight adults. And it was a process of trying to slim them down, and I got 2 slug clutches in the process, and which I don't think was entirely the fault of just the snakes, but still, a fat scrub python won't produce viable eggs because they're compact, and when they're fat, they're even more compact. Yeah. There's only so much room for an egg to develop within a fat scrub python.
Okay.
And typically that results in them just not developing good eggs. So, but yeah, this is pretty much the 6th year of trying and nothing to show for it yet. So yeah, that's why there's 2 options, and because I'm not going to stop trying. So
yeah, no, I mean, if I had to guess, I'd say get those smaller animals up, and I'm confident that you will find success in it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't think there's anything about them that's any different than any other scrub python as far as making them more difficult to breed. To me, there's absolutely zero evidence to point towards that being the case. So, I frankly, I think they're all the same. I think they all breed within maybe a 2% deviation of each other, the exact same. the Halmaheras were thought to be like the really hard ones for the longest time. And when I produced them last year, aside from fertility issues, which I think were just my mistakes, the breeding process itself, I honestly thought was easier than a lot of the other scrubs I've produced. So I think a lot of it just comes down to having good animals.
Okay.
That's all about it. A lot of these failed attempts over the years have been with wild caught adults.
Got it. So if we're talking about all the scrubs, when are you getting some Bolins?
Man, good question.
Because if there's one person who hasn't touched them that I think could like probably do something with them, it's probably you. And if you haven't said that to yourself, you probably should.
Well, no, yeah, I mean, I don't want to be. I'm not like a brash person, so I don't. But like, if I look at it objectively, I've probably at this point produced more Somalia than anybody else in the U.S. has probably ever, just because there's not a lot of competition there. And I've bred montane species as well. I've bred rattlesnakes and palm vipers and stuff like that live at the same kind of climate. So I understand how that climate works. So I kind of have the two sides of it. This breeding Somalia, understanding their physiology, and then understanding that kind of climate. I think I'd have a good shot. And I have Python Jesus in my corner as a mentor. So can't go wrong with that. Shout out to Ryan Young. But I really want to. I want Bolins bad. It'll happen what happens.
Okay.
One of those things. Sooner the better. But with animals that are that expensive, you really can't rush into that. So
no, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, I'd love to have like 3.3 Bolins or something like that eventually. I consider them a scrub python. They're very different in a lot of ways, but like still very, very similar. So yeah, definitely. There are very few species that I still want to add to my collection in general, period, which like I'm really happy about, because for years I was just kind of like obsessively buying reptiles like an addict. Whereas don't really want to do that anymore. And aside from a couple of localities of scrubs I don't have yet, I don't really count that. It's Bolins, Rutheni, like Lineaticalis, Gibsoni, Depii. That's probably the whole list.
Okay.
And on those last three, on all of them, I can wait. So, yeah, I'm in a pretty chill place as far as new animals goes, where there's not a lot that I really need.
All right.
There's a lot that I'd want to keep for sure, especially within colubrids.
Yeah, I mean, the list is too big to like not have some wants.
Well, yeah, sure, but like nothing that I'm rushing towards. But eventually, let's say in 10 years things are going well for me. It's the end of the year. Man, I need a big ass tax write-off, or otherwise I'm giving Uncle Sam all my money. I could see like putting together like a room of like 50 different colubrid species, just like in a heartbeat. Yeah, there's so many.
All right, so well, this is I was gonna tee up to this at some point, but like I feel like so between the fact that you've downsized reptiles and the fact that you keep such large animals, the ones that you keep, if you had a small little section of like the small Asian colubrid species, like the Asian rat snakes, like between the porfs, like you could have the mandarins or the forest rats in there, which those can get up there in price, but either way, but like some of that stuff that like stays relatively small, but like they're low key, they're easy, they're great feeders, and like not a huge amount of maintenance. Like I'd love to see another person like working hard with those guys.
Yeah, man. One group of colubrids I've never worked with that I've always really loved, and I at some point inevitably will, are like the Northern Asian rats, Japanese, Korean, Russian rats. I'm fascinated by those. I really want to work with those one day.
Everyone who has them absolutely loves them. I haven't given them.
I've never heard a bad word about them.
My personal time of day. I don't know if I ever will, but no one has ever talked bad about them. Everyone loves them.
I agree. I've never heard a bad word. I'd love to keep Moellendorffi again at some point. They're one of my favorite colubrid species. Man, it's a lot. I've never worked with mandarins. I've always thought mandarins were really cool, especially like the Vietnamese mandarins that that Matt produces. Fantastic. I mean, how could you not love that vibrant gold and black snake? Man, we could go on for hours.
For sure.
Those the name's escaping me. You'll know it's those really neat Pakistani diadem rats, the ones that have gotten really popular over the last year or two. My mind is slipping.
Like the Atroceps?
Yeah.
The species name? Yeah.
Atroceps.
Spalerophysis or whatever this genus is. I don't even know.
Something like that. Yeah. So like those, I think would be sick. It's ironic I say this considering I'm probably going to end up moving the ones I have now, but like some of the mangrove snakes I just absolutely love. Part of that for me too is just like you need to be so laser focused on breeding them, or you end up with one animal. You end up with a very lumpy female. So being a project that, if you look at my like priority tiers, is right near the bottom and the highest risk, like, is that a good idea? I don't know.
I hear you.
But like, I mean, Divergens, Melanota, Gemicincta, Latifasciata, so cool. I mean, like you said, like the forest rats are amazing. But I could probably go pretty nuts on some US colubrids as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, you already have it going with some of the
yeah, for sure. But even a lot of you can name off 100 species that are just so badass. I at some point probably end up with subox again or Centicollis, and I'm very fortunate.
See, you're a rat snake guy at heart. I know you like your pits. I know you like your pythons, but you like rat snakes.
I think the way that I think I could describe myself is I'm a colubrid guy who really, really, really loves scrub pythons. Because I'm not even sure I would call myself a python guy, because I have my scrub pythons and then I have 5 other whole pythons, and 3 of them are ball pythons I've had since I was like a kid. And then a pair of olives.
But the sheer amount of scrubs you have in your house, I think like makes up for all of that.
Sure. But like, if you want to look outside of the Somalia genus, I could probably name 50 to 100 colubrid species that I would keep before the next python species.
Okay. All right.
So, and I'm not even sure, that one might be Indian pythons, might be diamonds, might be inlands, might be southern chondros, but again, could probably fit at least 50 colubrid species on the list before I'd hit those.
By Indian python, like Indian rocks?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I love those snakes.
Yeah.
They're so cool. I was very lucky to work with some of my job back in high school. There were animals that were produced by San Diego Zoo.
Okay.
And they're so cool. They're incredible animals. So yeah, that would probably be the first python outside of the Somalia genus would be Indian pythons.
Interesting. All right. I don't hear those come up much.
Well, you just did. We heard Indian pythons on Colubrid Corruption. What do you know?
No.
But because they're ESA listed, it makes that part of it really challenging.
Oh, okay.
That's why there's really not a market for them. It's just like, what are you gonna do? I know the people that are working with them, being very diligent, getting all the interstate commerce permits, like it's happening, but like for one, most people don't even know what an Indian python is or a Sri Lankan python. They're like,
Right.
that berm looks interesting. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
sure does. And because of the ESA, just like there's not, they've never been like a social media animal or whatever. So just I feel like people just don't really know about them. Like Crutchfield used to post his Sri Lankans back long ago when they still had them, and that got some buzz. But Indian pythons really never, because there's not that many out there.
Got it. Interesting.
And they don't look as extreme as the Sri Lankan pythons either. So if you look at like what's going to catch someone's eye more, a Sri Lankan python or an Indian python, it's going to be a Sri Lankan python. But it's a, I mean, for Indian pythons are amazing, but definitely it's like a nostalgia personal thing for me. Just I was 13 working with one of the rarest pythons in captivity. I'm like looking back, and I knew at the time how special it was, but also looking back, I'm like, that was so freaking cool. Like, what luck. So
definitely. Steven, you and I have followed like a similar trajectory when it comes to the podcast world. Like we're kind of like
we're neck and neck.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just curious, like, the growth and change of the podcast over that time. Like, you've always been one, and like I do admire the people that can have a podcast that's not in a box the way like mine is.
Sure. Yeah, probably
even
the
with that
box
said,
you could have though.
Yeah, I'd love, but even with that, like I'd love to have people like Ryan Young on here. Like I know he doesn't keep colubrids, but like I'd love to just talk to him about stuff.
He might have a couple floating around.
If he does, I'd love to talk to him.
He definitely worked with colubrids. I know he used to breed colubrids on a kind of more larger scale back in the day. But yeah, no, it's having a podcast that's not defined by something is super nice. But it has its ups and its downs, because like with your audience that loves colubrids, they're going to be interested in every episode you have.
Sure.
To one degree or another, whether it's like, wow, I really love this species, awesome, I'm in, or like never really considered this species, but it's a colubrid, so it's a little bit closer. So like,
I think I get a little bit of a mix, I feel like. And for the people listening, I love you all. But I know people definitely come in depending on the guest or the species that's being talked about. And then I know I have people that are listening to every single episode. So like there's that. But like I know the audience absolutely changes week to week based on whatever's happening. But where I was going with my question is like what's your goal, or what has your goal like changed into in terms of like what you're trying to get out of the podcast, the type of people you're bringing on at this point? Like,
it's a great question. I'm not sure if there's ever been a goal of the podcast.
Yeah, maybe that was a bad phrase to use, but
no, but I know what you mean. Honestly, I think for me, it's just like, I just I want to do episodes that I'm excited to do.
Yeah.
That's I think it's just kind of as simple as that. Like, I'm glad that I have the freedom to kind of, from like a thematic standpoint, to kind of do whatever I want. It's kind of nuts that I can have like an episode about boa constrictors, and then crocodiles, and then little Australian geckos, and then emerald tree boas, and then scrub pythons, or like, I'm all over the place, and I like it that way. But I think as I've gone on, the one thing that I've wanted to do more of, and I still kind of need to work more in that direction, is episodes that are more thematic than guest based. Like, all right, I want to talk about this topic. Who do I want to talk about this topic with?
Yeah.
And I like doing the more like biographical kind of episodes. But to me, I'm like, all right, let's maybe do one of those every 6 weeks or something like that, as opposed to that being, however the episode goes. I like when things feel special, when it's like, all right, cool, this episode is so different than the one I did last week. Like, I'm excited for doing it. And not that I'm never not excited, but like if the episodes week after week kind of follow the same format, everything's kind of similar aside from maybe like the species, in mind for the episode. I think it can get a tad bit stagnant, but
it's hard, man. With what we do, it's hard depending
hard.
on what we're wanting to do in terms of like content type episodes, like whether it's a group of people you're trying to get together, like, it gets hard sometimes. Like I've done a few of those roundtable episodes, like, if I want to get 4 other people on here, that means I have to find a day that works for all 4 of those people. I tend to make myself available for these Sundays, but like I have to find a Sunday that works for all 4 of these people so I can get them on the screen at the same time and talk about what I want to talk about. Granted, those have been some of like the best episodes on the channel, and I'd love to do more of them, but I'd also like to not dry out that concept too much. So that's like the very other side of it too.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that I'm like, I've done it, but I need to be better about like having different types of episodes. And I've done that where like, like episodes with younger keepers, kind of emphasizing the younger generation, or with like founders of the larger companies within the industry. Like I said, roundtables about a very specific topic. I've only done a handful of them, but some of my favorite episodes. Getting on a guest who works with a species that I've never done an episode on. Like I have one of those coming up that I'm pretty excited about. We're doing a deep dive into short-tail pythons. I don't even think the phrase short-tail python has ever been said on my show, and I've done 120 episodes. But then like one of my favorites, and honestly, I love it, and then the audience seems to as well, because I always seem to get the most views, are like just the episode with like a friend, kind of the topic just kind of goes wherever. For me, like the people who have been the most consistent with that would be like, Alex Myers, Chris Rice, MJ a number of times, Adam Say, Brandon Wheeler, Patrick Holmes, like on this coming Wednesday. Those seem to be very popular episodes. And I that format is nice too, to just kind of like have a chill podcast that might not be quite as dense as far as like knowledge and information goes, but like there's a lot to be gained because it kind of weaves in different directions. It's always surrounding around hobby stuff for the most part. Dave Levinson's another one I got to throw on that list as well. Done a handful of podcasts together, but I love doing those as well. So for me, it's like if I can keep enjoying it week after week, then if I'm enjoying it, then the people who are listening probably will too.
Well, and that's how I feel too. Like I've worried sometimes where I'm like, I've had this guest on like quite a few times. Are people getting tired of hearing them? I'm like, clearly I want them on the show because I think they're going to generate a good conversation with me. So like, we're not going to talk about the same thing twice. Like these are going to be good episodes regardless. And I've had you on once per year at this point, and like we've had different conversations. And granted, we probably talked a lot more. I think we did talk a lot more about scrubs today than colubrids, but like me personally, I don't mind that because like I like learning that stuff and I like hearing from you. So I think this is good content, whether the colubrid audience is happy about it or not.
For sure.
I'm sure they enjoy it to some degree.
If they want a more colubrid heavy conversation with us too, we can go listen to the episode that you did on my podcast.
Yes.
We're definitely do a lot of colubrid stuff as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. And like, if you think about podcasting in general, because I like to take inspiration from non-reptile podcasts. It's like, all right, what do I listen to? Every time Theo Vaughn pops up on the Joe Rogan feed, I'm like, now click, I'm listening to it today. There's probably 50 episodes on if you want to keep scrolling back, but like, it's just so fun. And as a podcast fan, I love when there's an obvious chemistry between the host and the guest.
Yeah.
And that only can be created by doing episodes together over and over and over and over again. There's no other way for that to happen. So, even think back to like NPR days, like whenever someone like, I mean, not that they're still not doing it, but like when NPR was really like the only game in town, be it Rob Stone, Keith McPeak, Matt Minatola, any of the regularly occurring guests on the show. Those are always like some of the best episodes because it feels like you're there. It's such like I don't want to say casual because it's not casual, but like such a natural dynamic that it really brings you into that room from an auditory standpoint. Feels like you're sitting at a table, at the back patio at Daytona or something like that.
Yeah,
So
100%.
those are my favorite episodes of other podcasts I listen to. So I'm like, if I can create that type of feel in my shows, I bet people would like that as well.
Yeah. Honestly, I think like more of like as you said that, like I feel like more of us podcasters should almost collaborate more. Like just because I think like we're already good at talking to guests and to our own audience that like I think we're gonna have good conversations regardless. So
no doubt. Yeah.
Whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, and this as well. The best guest to have on your podcast is a podcaster.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
It's always the easiest. It's just, and as I bet you experienced early on too, like it takes a minute to kind of warm up to this format, to this thing we do. So to have somebody who's like second nature, it makes the episodes flow a lot better. And honestly, I think the real thing is going to be when the time comes where like there's more possibilities of like in-person podcasts.
Yeah.
Some of those ball python dudes in I think in Georgia have been starting to do that more, where they'll like have a guest actually come in, and it looks more like some of the more professional non-reptile podcasts that are out there. I mean, there's just something about the screen not being in between the two people that just it makes it better. There's no two ways about it.
I want to. You heard me at the beginning, but like, I still have a table for Colubrid Fest, and like one thing I want to do is like bring the podcast live, which I know people have done before at shows, like MJ included, but I just don't know if I have the right equipment to do it well. Like I know I have to absolutely get some sort of Bluetooth mic or something to some extent, but like I don't know at that point, like do I get a webcam, or like do I get some fancy lighting to have in front of me? Like I mean, I do use lights in my room, but I don't know how portable I can make my like podcast setup. So I'm like, I want to make good content out of that weekend, but I don't know. Hopefully get some nice like in-person interviews with Colubrid people.
Yeah, that's always a tough one because I've been on both sides of the podcast at a show dynamic, and it's definitely cool. I don't know if I would be like thrilled about being the one having to set it all up, just because of all the noise you're dealing with in the room and just making sure the levels are all right. You're canceling out all the background noise, etc. One of my earliest mentors in reptiles, and also my first in podcasting, Josh Beatty, he used to do the Royally Addicted podcast on Herp Nation. This is 10, 15 years ago at this point. I'd seen him do that at shows, going around and recording podcasts of people. And sometimes the recording just wouldn't be great.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously technology now is vastly different compared to me. He had like literally like a recorder, like what a reporter would have running around like, all right, I'm with Fox News. What's your take on this? It's a lot. And then obviously like, it's cool to get perspective from the show, but then obviously you can't really ever get an in-depth conversation if you're talking to somebody for 15, 20 minutes or whatever.
Yeah,
like, how many vendors are going to be able to take an hour away from the table?
No, absolutely.
So it's a different thing. And then also, but to the topic of like diversifying shows, this is what this is, this is what that is, like, that's very different than what you're doing here. So that could be a cool change of pace.
Yeah, no, 100%.
An episode, like a 2-hour Colubrid corruption that is, 12, 10-minute segments or whatever.
Exactly.
Could definitely be cool. So yeah, I mean, if you do, let me know how it goes. I'm not sure if I'm going to be at Colubrid Fest quite yet, but
it's up for debate, possibly.
It's such an inconvenient place to get to. I mean, if it was anywhere within like a 10-hour drive of me, I don't think there'd be a question that I would be there. And then the other debate for me is that I'm going to be out in Dallas the weekend before for Bill Stiegel's whole event.
Got it.
So doing I've never done a back-to-back show like that. And then Tinley is what, 2 weeks later?
It's pretty close. Yep.
And I'm going to be at Tinley. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to go. But it would probably, it's of the three, it's the most challenging logistically.
Yeah. I'm driving again, so
yeah, it makes it a lot easier. That's probably what, like 14-hour drive for you?
About, I think 13 and a half or something.
Yeah, which you could, like, any drive that you couldn't feasibly make in one day, I'm just like, ugh. Or like if you really power through and plan it.
No, that one I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah,
I could do that.
Yeah, 13. Because I do the 10 to California pretty solidly. That
gets you to Pomona.
Gets me to San Diego. 12 gets me to Pomona.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm typically ended up in San Diego before I'm out in Pomona.
That's not bad, but you're like super West Texas, right?
Like, yeah, like barely Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, like New Mexico is half an hour. Mexico 15 minutes. So yeah, that it's not even really Texas, for being honest. But so yeah, so like, and it's literally just a straight line west to get to San Diego. So yeah, that drive's pretty easy. But I'd have to imagine here to Evansville would be 21 or so. Yeah. So that's a haul.
Definitely.
And then you got to get the hotel as well, both directions, not in, so yeah, and I'm not sure if I would even have enough to vend, like, to make it worthwhile from that standpoint.
Right. Okay.
So, the damn Spilotes stopped me from vending Colubrid Fest. But
yeah, fair enough. Well, if you just wanted to attend, at least, I'd still recommend it highly on that end. I think you'd definitely.
Sure. No, I think it would definitely. I know it would be worth it. That's not what my dilemma there would be. Just the logistics of it all.
Sure.
It's challenging.
Yeah, with everything else, of course. Yeah. Cool.
So, maybe. But yeah, and the fact that I've missed the first 3, I'm not thrilled about. So,
I mean, like, so from my end, it's been really cool to see the evolution year 1 to year 2, and now year 3. Like, I am hoping that with every year, it just becomes more and more of a mainstay and just keeps getting better every year, so that every time new people come to the show, it's something that they feel like they always have to come back.
Sure. Well, I will say, and I'm, this isn't going to mean much, but if it was in Indianapolis, there would be no question.
Okay.
I'd be there 100%.
Year 1 was rough in Indy.
But I'd have to imagine that's not the only venue that they could have gotten in there.
That is out of my scope.
But I mean,
knowledge.
That's probably a top 5 city in the entire country for like events like that. As far as that they have every huge event you could think of comes to that city.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why the Final Four is there like every few years of anywhere it could be. But yeah, I heard that just the getting around downtown was rough from a vendor standpoint.
Parking, all of that. It was just like all bad.
I mean, I'm not sure if this would be a taboo, but like the venue that they have the Midwest show, the ARS runs, the fairgrounds, I think they definitely have a space that's more than big enough for the expo with infinite parking.
Yeah.
It's only about 10 minutes from downtown.
Okay.
But anyway, that's me lobbying for it being there.
Yeah.
But you know, but it's I have to imagine it's a difficult thing to kind of try to debate of like, all right, where do we do this? Because there's a lot goes into that decision.
Yes.
So from like a drivability standpoint, I guess you could say Evansville is a little bit more centrally located, just being a little bit further south. So if you're
Yes.
from Dallas,
It's a farther drive for me.
yeah, but like from somebody from Florida, from Texas, from Colorado, well, probably not Colorado, but I mean, anywhere that's further south, a little bit more convenient. For anyone who's going to fly, Indianapolis is night and day more convenient. But like, I've never run a reptile show, so
yeah,
I don't know how all that comes together.
Yeah, things we don't know. I don't know. Cool, man. What are, I guess, with like the pits? So you have the bulls, you have the pines, the Mexican pines. What are you working with? Any other species on them?
Yeah, so I have a handful of pairs of northern pines.
Okay, you do.
I have the black pines, and then bulls, the Jani.
Oh, yes, I've seen them in your videos. Yeah, I'm just not remembering.
All good. Let's see. What am I forgetting? And then I have the San Diego gophers, the vertebralis gophers. I think that's it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What's the prospect looking on the rest of those species to get them up and?
Yeah, all close. Next
okay.
year, I should be able to breed the Ocean County Northerns, the Red Phase Northerns, Black Pines. Yeah, those should all be next year. And then probably the year following for the San Diegos and the Kentuckys. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's all coming together. I think next year I should have like 6 pretty good pairs going for pits. So
yeah.
That got that comment. Yeah. So fuck it. Hello. You want to come with me?
We're getting a show and tell, guys.
Yeah. She's excited. She thinks I'm feeding her on account of the lights being off in here right now. Oh, come here. Once you see her, you'll know why I wouldn't necessarily want her to bite me. Come here. So here we go.
Jeez.
And for perspective, she is 2 years old.
2?
She's
wow.
2. Yeah. She is.
Let's get big, man.
Snake. Yeah,
let's get big. I mean, they hatch big.
But like this giant line, it's a real thing. Like there's the other northern pines that I have that are the same age and size are notably smaller than her. I mean, she could damn near take a large rat. So
yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, she's one of my absolute favorites. And like animals like this are why like I'll never just have the scrub pythons. Like I could never see myself not having other stuff like the northern pines or stuff like that. I just particularly
honestly,
they're so fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guilty of it too, and I know Zach has talked about this, but like I think a lot of us like just grossly underfeed our colubrids compared to like what they intake in the wild. Truly.
Yeah, 100%.
Like even for my rat snakes, like I know I can push those mofos like I'll say the Texas rats, not like bamboos, but like
yeah,
you could absolutely push those things hard and probably get them very big, very fast. Not that big, but relatively big, relatively fast.
Yeah.
Pits are on a different level. They hatch big, and if like you feed them the right way, like yeah, and Zach has said it, like some of the field research they've done, they're finding animals that are, shoot up in size in a matter of a year. Like it's crazy. I forget what the metric was that he said, but like he's found animals and just has been that they were tracking and has been in complete disbelief by the growth they've put on.
Yeah, no, it's to me no surprise at all. They're at a different level as far as the growth goes. I feel like I don't even feed mine as much as I could because I just only do a weekly meal with them.
Okay.
But I try to give them a really solid meal weekly.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the Kentucky pine that I got from I got a pair, but the female who was bigger and still is from Craig Trumbauer last year from his just like that mind-blowing male that's on the cover of the book. She's like 4 feet long. She's not even a year old yet. So, or maybe right around a year at this point. Yeah, she's like damn near eating small rats, like, or yeah, pretty much is. It's wild how fast they can grow. It's absolutely nuts. And you can tell like they want to grow too. It's not like they're like big and kind of like a little chunky. They're just like lean, muscular, just it's wild.
Yeah, just monsters.
One of my favorite things about pits. It's like from week to week, it's like a different snake.
Yeah. Here's something going back to podcasting a little bit. Here's something that I think maybe is interesting. Like, obviously you've had some like great episodes. I know you've noted like having Craig on was like one of your favorites, but at this point in the stage of your podcasting, like who would be, I guess, maybe a dream guest for you, or someone you really want to have on, or maybe even a topic you want to bring to the table that you just haven't gotten to do yet, or waiting? Sure.
Yeah, honestly, my single dream guest that would probably never happen would be Kevin Bryan from Rodent Pro.
Okay,
that'd be the top. Yeah, no doubt about it. I don't even know what he looks like. I just know his name. I ran into him in the street. I wouldn't even know who he is. But yeah. I mean,
any particular reason behind that?
I mean, I think you'd have to consider him the most successful person in the history of the reptile industry.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think people understand the scale and sheer size of Rodent Pro.
Like, I surely don't.
They supply majority of the major zoos in the entire country.
Okay.
Majority of the pet stores in the entire country. Some of the biggest breeders. I mean, I don't know, but I'd have to imagine they're sending out thousands of packages a week. Yeah, like what they've done with that company is insane. It's just absolutely nuts. So yeah, that'd be the number one dream guest.
All right.
Fair enough. Rodents are something I'm particularly interested in personally. So
yeah,
probably, the rodent business might interest me more than 99% of my listeners, but I don't fucking know. Like the episode I did with Todd Goodman from Timberline, I could say that might be my favorite episode I've ever done.
I didn't get a chance to listen to that one yet, but now that you say that, I will for sure.
I mean,
I've been a little behind on reptile podcasts, honestly.
I mean, it's not a reptile podcast; it's a business podcast.
Yeah,
it's
which I like.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's all that was literally just talking about his business. And if you're not into that type of stuff, it's like, yeah, that's probably not going to be the episode for you. But even if you're not like a business type of person, hearing about one of the companies that makes this industry run, like without Timberline, I mean, this hobby would not be the size it is. It just couldn't be, because there wouldn't be enough supply of feeder bugs. Plain and simple. I mean, they have a second facility as a like security blanket. It's like miles away from the other facility. They just have like, and it's not like, it's like 15 buildings.
Wow.
That's their assurance colony, and their main farm is like freaking 50 buildings. I mean, wild. Like,
jeez,
I think they have like over 100 employees. Yeah,
full of bugs.
just bug factory.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that I was, it interests me, but also just from like a, knowing about the hobby, these businesses like Timberline, like Road and Pro, like Freedom Breeder, some of these companies that like are the substrate, pun not necessarily intended, that our hobby can grow from, without a lot of these things we kind of take for granted. What the hell would happen?
Yeah. No, that's really interesting.
So yeah, I definitely want to do more episodes primarily about like the business side of the industry.
Yeah, those sometimes can be seen as like taboo sometimes, because it's hard to talk about money with the animals, and certain people not feel some type of way about it. Obviously, like I'm in business both personally and with these reptiles to a degree, so like, it's a topic I'm always interested about, and interested in hearing and stuff like that. So yeah, depends on the people.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's like, I get that, but and that's kind of why with these episodes that I've only done a couple of them so far, but they haven't been like reptile businesses.
Right.
Honestly, the only ones that I would really be interested in doing as far as like a podcast of that kind of format with anyone who actually produces reptiles would be like Mark and/or Kim Bell, John Mack, Eugene Bissett, Steve Sykes. That might be the whole list.
Yeah.
Bill Brandt, like the companies that actually make like that really, they were doing it. Like they were supplying all of the major pet chains, producing hundreds of thousands of animals a year. Nothing that I would ever want to do, but you can't deny that the role that has played in the development.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially when, decades ago, when you walk around a reptile show and maybe half of the people who are vending are breeders, nonetheless, like most people who are actually walking around the show as well.
Right.
And so many fewer people actually were breeding reptiles when there was a need for mass production just to supply the demand that was out there, where these days that really is diminishing, and which is a great thing. I super happy about that, just for an animal welfare standpoint, but can't deny the history of how we got here. That's super interesting.
Yeah, well, we replaced that with a bunch of people who, can just throw 2 ball pythons in a towel bin. But that's besides the point.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had another question teed up and I totally got lost on it.
I'll just wait here until you remember.
No, I think it's gone. Let's see. You have your Patreon, which has been cool. You've been doing that as a way to kind of build a little more on your stuff, show some exclusive access. You post a lot on there. You post a lot more than I do, that's for sure. I think you just have more going on than I do at the moment.
Yeah. It's like, try to make this worthwhile for people. Show a lot of what's going on.
So if you're interested in scrubs and stuff Steven's working with, I definitely recommend joining that.
Thank you.
Because he posts good stuff and has good animals. That's why he's here. I think it was something about the podcast. What the fuck? I'm trying to remember. And it's not going to come back to me.
Guest topics. Different things of how to format the podcast.
I have no idea. So lost. But anyway, no, I've always enjoyed what you do on the podcast. So to the audience here as well, If you haven't listened to Steven's podcast before, you should. I've been on it before, so if you want to listen to my episode, you could do that. Go listen to all the other ones too, because they're pretty cool. He's had on a lot of good guests and a lot of really good topics.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our episode, we were like almost at 3 hours, right? The one that we did?
I think so. I think we went a decent amount of time.
It was a bit of a marathon episode.
Yeah, we talked a lot.
Yeah, that's something that I do every now and then. Last week, I almost hit 4 hours on Wednesday.
Really?
Yeah. That was sometimes it's like that, and that was kind of like the old school reptile. I mean, not old school compared to now, like the early Unfiltered Reptile podcast days and stuff like that. We'd have like 4, sometimes damn near 5-hour episodes, and it's not a very sustainable way of living, but every now and then it's fun.
Yeah.
On the special occasion.
Right. Honestly, what we just talked about kind of prompted this one, but like, since, you being full-time and you also interested in like these reptile business topics and stuff like that, what are some, I guess, for other breeders out there trying to like do well with this, what are some metrics that you look at that you think people may overlook that could like help them in their business?
Yeah, I mean, I think a big one, especially these days, is I'm not sure if it's much of a metric as much as just kind of like a paradigm of, more not necessarily always being better, especially with how expensive a lot of the inputs are getting these days. Feeders, enclosures, electricity, everything that goes into it. The old days.
I was going to ask about feeders. That's what I was going to ask about.
Okay. So the old days of like, you can produce, let's say, hypothetical breeder has 50 clutches of whatever a year, and wholesale 80% of those offspring and retail the rest of them, being like a good business model. It's kind of a thing of the past. Probably depends on what you have to wholesale, but a lot of the times, certain species will become very popular. Let's say, with colubrids, particularly in like some of the Asian markets, will be really hot on certain colubrids for a while, but then after a while that can dry up. They got them, they've been bringing over hundreds every year for the last decade. And what do you know? People are now breeding them over there. They don't need the US stock anymore. So I think these days, instead of having those 50 litters or clutches and wholesaling 80% of them, I think there's probably more money to be made on the margin in maybe 15 clutches and you retail all of them.
Yeah.
I think we're getting to the point where, from a business standpoint, the profit margin is the most important metric to be working on, where volume doesn't necessarily make money at this point. If you're wholesaling stuff or producing more hobby level stuff with a ton of competition and just, putting a $2 rat into that snake every single week and eventually selling it for $80, you probably lost money on that individual. And then if you want to look at it a little bit beyond just the dollars and cents of it, is that animal really going to be going into a good situation? That wholesale level animal. So if you can focus more on a retail market, then you can be much more certain that the animals that you're sending out are actually going into homes that you'd be happy that they're going into as well. Which I think is super important. And obviously through social media, marketing is as easy as it's ever been. It's as cheap as it's ever been. So, and
people still fail. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah. Just not trying.
Solely on a lack of effort.
Yeah. That's the only reason.
I've said this so many times, actually not in the way that I'm about to say it, but like, if I posted a normal Texas rat on Morph Market, I bet I could sell that animal faster than 95% of the other Texas rat snake sellers on Morph Market. Solely on the reason that my ad will look better than theirs. And that's the only reason why it'll sell faster. And it's not because of my name, it's not because of who I am, it's because my ad will look better. And it's that sole lack of effort that people are losing, and then they wonder what's up. Granted, there will always be your tire kickers and all that other shit. Like it always happens, but I've done it before and I'm fully plan on doing it again in the future.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, like, the efforts in question here, it's not even like that much. It's
the
like
the longest amount of effort is taking a good picture.
Yeah.
That's the most effort. And typing out 3 extra sentences to put on
literally
the description.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's really it. You know, I'm in the position where I just, you know, I don't have a full-time job aside from this. So like, I can do podcasts and vlogs and posts on social media and all that stuff. You know, it's not my favorite part of what we do, but it's super important part. So, I mean, I love doing the podcast, but like, you know, my favorite part is being with the animals. And obviously sitting on your computer, editing a video is not being with the animals, or being on your phone, posting on Instagram. So, you know, I'm not as stoked to do that as I am, but like, it's all part of the same thing. So, you know, I'm very fortunate that I have these platforms. I have people that are seeing my stuff on the platform. So, you know, I mean, throw Patreon into the mix now, you know, it's a whole additional platform as well that really requires a lot more attention and effort than the other ones do, honestly. But it's the one that has the best return. So it's more than worth it. I'd love to be able to do more with social media. And honestly, that's part of trying to reduce the collection, is to be able to like maybe move my schedule where I have like a day of the week I can dedicate to doing that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Filming, editing, making reels, planning podcasts, doing whatever, just to like hold myself more accountable to that.
I still personally need to optimize my schedule better to like juggle everything.
Dude, every week I'm trying to get better at it. It's and like I have the great fortune and also in way misfortune of not being accountable to anybody. Yeah. Because I can do whatever I want whenever I want in theory, but that doesn't take you very far in life. But like not needing to punch the clock at 8 or whatever can be a difficult thing to hold yourself accountable to day in and day out.
Right.
Just because there's nothing stopping you from hitting that snooze one more time or scrolling 10 more reels. But you know, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's fantastic. But yeah, in this day and age, there's no excuse not to be as active as you reasonably can be, life circumstances considering. But you know, I mean, you're the perfect example with Texas rat snakes. It's a species that have been around forever.
Yeah.
For absolutely ever. And there's always been morphs, there's always been the scaleless, but like no one's ever really like championed those animals. And oh, look, it's working. Crazy. Yeah. That can be accomplished with anything.
I agree.
Like if you're truly passionate about the animals and you can express that in a way that engages others, people will understand why you feel that way and they will begin to feel that way as well.
Again, there are species out there I wouldn't touch just because they're not my jam, but like they're breeders who will breed them every year and sell out of them every year because they can.
Yeah.
Because they can.
Yeah. I mean, like another great example, my buddy Jack Thompson, who's huge into the leaf-tailed geckos.
Yep.
I mean, dude like sold everything he brought to Pomona on Saturday.
Not surprised.
No, I wasn't either, but I was like, all right, hell yeah. And like, but it makes perfect sense. I mean, he's fantastic at social media. That's
yes.
I mean, you got to give Jack a ton of credit. Fantastic at it. But beyond just being good at the actual like mechanics of it, he's a great communicator of those animals and he's super dialed in with them. So like leaf-tailed geckos have been around for decades as well, but somebody's championing them and being very public about it, educating. Oh, it's working. Crazy how that works.
Yeah.
So, I mean, anybody can do it. Literally anybody with anything. I mean, if you want to be the next, like, I'm going to do this with ball pythons, like, okay, that might be challenging. Or crested geckos. Okay, you kind of need to shoot for a little bit of an unbeaten path or a less beaten path.
Yeah.
For this example. But there are thousands more species that fall into that category than into the ball python, crested gecko, bearded dragon category. So pretty easy to find something that is super cool that nobody is really I mean, like another good example, and I don't know if there's anybody who you would probably know better than me, but the last podcast I was doing with Adam from the Expert and the Idiot podcast, we were talking about how his son is getting into hognose snakes.
Okay.
And was super interested. And I was like, dude, get him some nice, like, high red Eastern hognose.
Yeah.
Like, for all of the Western hognose that are out there, finagle your way in with some Eastern hognose. Like, those things are badass.
Yeah. I mean, granted, no one that I'm super aware of is doing Easterns any true justice. I think, like, the term hognose is just fully overshadowed by Westerns and morphs.
Yeah.
Also, hogs just personally aren't really my jam, so I don't pay a ton of mind to them. I try to get on the occasional hognose guest because I think they're good.
They're super popular. At this point, they got to be the second most popular snake in the world, right?
They're number one in colubrids.
Yeah,
they've overtaken corns
for sure. Yeah,
or they have for a while.
Ball python, hognose snake, anything else coming in behind that? Western hognose, obviously.
Snake wise, yes, it's ball python then hognose.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and I mean, that is like, you take what we're talking about, extrapolate it to like the greatest degree possible. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that hognose actually were able to fill that niche, because I haven't worked with many hognose, but they've never, to me, been like, I've never had a hognose in my hand and been like, I want to give this to a 7-year-old. They're kind of, I'm never like, I don't know, and maybe I've had the wrong, like, I haven't had these super morphed out hognose, but they're always kind of like, I'm never fully convinced they're not going to bite me. And I knew somebody who I worked with who got envenomated by a Western hognose and was like laid up in bed for like a week. So
yeah, I'm not
trying to shit on hognose, but I'm like,
I know.
I'm shocked that it wasn't something like a corn snake.
I try not to either, but I think that's another serious factor that I think isn't taken seriously in that community at all, is the rare fangedness of them. Everyone's just like, nah, they won't, they have to chew on you. Okay, what happens when I don't want to say idiot, but like, it's someone's first time pet and like it does chew on you,
who's not strong enough to get that hognose snake off of themselves.
Yeah, I have a hard time,
but like, people are allergic to bees,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not trying to shit on hognose at all, but like, and honestly, the real answer to this question is probably just the fact that they're morphed out to hell and back.
Yes.
That's probably just the answer as to why they got so popular, and there more morphs keep rolling in.
Yep.
So, and a lot of them look super cool. Like, I'm not, it makes sense. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense why it would that would be the case. But and they're very small. But like, anyway, but I was saying, like, take an Eastern hognose for example, a species that, they're a classic United States native snake, but then they're so similar to Western hognose in so many ways, but like, no one's ever really taken that and brought it to the next level. No one's done what you've done with the Texas rats with those. Like, why not? Why not Eastern hognose?
I know. Just waiting There's tons of species that are just like waiting for
Yeah,
the right
like,
person.
I've always thought that somebody could do that with the beauty snake complex. Like they, I mean, obviously, like you have like the Zirkles, but like their social media presence isn't massive.
Yeah.
Kind of like a, if you know kind of thing. If you've been to like any
Yeah.
show in the Midwest, they always have one of the best tables at the show. But I've always thought that somebody could have like, just a completely focused collection on the whole beauty snake complex and like really take those animals to the next level. Because they're like, what more could you want than this like big, but not, unless you're looking at Blue Beauty, like still very manageable, gorgeous, in my experience, typically pretty well mannered colubrid that is just like the most apartment friendly snake in the entire world. Keep it ambient in your apartment and never put heat on it ever, and you're doing everything you need for that snake.
You're talking about most Asian rat snakes.
Yeah, for sure. But like, as far as one that is a little bit more like charismatic and
right. Oh, for sure.
That's a good question. Aren't they primarily the eastern hogs, amphibian eaters? But then I guess what I would shoot back at that is, weren't westerns before they kind of got domesticated? Frog specialist kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean,
I think varied in the wild.
Okay. Maybe they are. But I feel like I've seen people keeping eastern hognose in captivity.
There are definitely people who are. They're just not super common.
Yeah. So, I think that just probably along the same lines of a lot of the stuff that a lot of colubrids that are kept is like, they're not really rodent eaters, but we kind of turn them into rodent eaters over time. I mean, the fact that western hognose snakes just like take frozen thawed pinkies now is a product of captivity.
Yeah, I mean, even I've been saying it. I don't know how much you've heard, but like there are people who over the last couple of years with baby rhino rats like haven't had to do the fish trick like straight to pinkies, which is clearly a sign of domestication.
Sure, I have completely agree.
The more captive bred generations that are farther removed from the wild, like they're clearly responding to rodents much more readily than they were prior. And I'm like, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's like, I'm literally something I'm trying to do with my scrub pythons is like, I'm primarily selecting for phenotype, but where I can also select for phenotype and great starter as a baby.
Yeah,
I'm doing that.
Why? Can they be a pain in the ass as babies?
I've had some. This year, what I've finally been able to do, and a little bit at the end of last season, is use live button quail. Try to get them going.
Figured that's what you were gonna say.
It works. It works very well. I think it kind of would track that these baby scrub pythons in the wild, they probably do come across rodents, but I think probably baby birds are one of the more common items they get. I would
especially as they're climbing and stuff.
Yeah. So I think that a baby bird would definitely be like the item as far as based on the birds we have, the diets they get fed. I'm a firm believer for scrub python specifically that they do night and day better on rodents than birds, but they do better on birds than on no food. So, get them started on birds, especially the smaller types that kind of can keep eating birds for longer. Because at a certain point, a big adult scrub python, like you can get like the XXXX quail, good, fine, but at a certain point, you want to give a rat to a snake where they can equivalently take a big quail. But that's beside the point. But yeah, where I can select for holdbacks that either ate on the first try or ate rodents really quickly, grew fast when they were young. Like, to me, that's just good sign of overall vitality in the animal. Right. And like with the perfect example with those rhino rats, I'd have to imagine that'll manifest in subsequent generations.
Yeah.
So, because one of the big things that actually, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, as far as my thought process on like refining the collection, whittling it down, I've come to discover over the years of keeping, I hate picky feeders. I hate it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like why I don't have the Pituophis anymore. I loved those snakes, but
I forgot you had those.
Yeah, I've had Carinata and then Niger marginata.
Okay.
But hearing the horror stories of getting those babies started, I'm like,
yeah.
Like hearing people talking about Carinata, like, yeah, they don't want to eat anything and there's no tricks. Eventually, they just kind of take something, maybe, or they die. It's like, oh.
Those are primarily amphibian, right? The Carinata,
Probably in a while, yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, but like, I think people even have a hard time sometimes getting them eating frogs in captivity. Like,
yeah,
rodent, frog, bird, fish, fucking anything, and stuff tied together and thawed in water with fish juice. I'm like, I want to take the fuzzy and put it in there and close the drawer and come back later and fuzzy is gone.
Yep.
That's what I like. So
I often feel the same and keep a lot of species that do that for me.
Yeah. So scrubs, pretty good. Every now and then I have ones I need to assist feed. They're very easy to assist feed, which I'm a fan of. And then pits, maybe the easiest snakes in the entire world to get to eat.
Yeah.
And then the Spilotes, in my experience so far, have been pretty easy. The ones that won't take mice will take the quail. So
okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and I also benefit greatly from the fact that I have live. But
yeah, no, that's a big.
But I would also say, and when the topic of like, all right, what's if you're going to try to do this these days, I don't personally think you could be successful as a small scale reptile breeder without breeding your own rodents. They're just so expensive these days.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're selling $10,000 designer chondros or basins or something like that. Okay, maybe if your name is Ed Marino, you don't need to breed rodents. Or if you're,
what are you defining as like a small scale?
I mean, honestly, I think it's anything you want to make it profitable.
Okay.
If your goal is profitability, yeah.
I think like when it switches over, like especially someone in your position, like when you have to make the change from mice to rats.
Yeah.
Rats is where the line crosses. When you're doing mice only, it's a little bit different. I think.
Sure.
I've been ordering from ARS lately, and I have to say I've been like amazingly pleased with the prices I'm paying for rodents, and like they're good quality rodents.
No,
I haven't
ARS
had
is
issues.
a cheat code. If you live within a reasonable shipping zone, which I do not. So $100 a box of shipping to me
all right.
makes it a little untenable. But
I'm on the nice zone.
Like if I was still in Indiana, or $40, I would be showing up there once a month. I was going to say,
you
being
go
like,
pick it up.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm here for my rats. And they're like, okay, here you go. This is half the price of anywhere else in the entire country. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm out. Yeah, 100%. So no, ARS is the cheat code if you live within the reasonable shipping zones of ARS. Yeah, no doubt about it. But then also just from the standpoint of like really being able to have that quality control over what you're feeding.
No, 1,000%. And like, I don't think my fiance can hear me, but like if I could breed rodents, which I know I cannot in my apartment, like I absolutely would. Yeah. And like in the future, if it ever becomes an option, it is something I like know I kind of have to do. Well, like, and I wish I could, like, even just to have pinky like live pinkies for baby snakes, like at minimum.
100%.
And then just stuff them.
And the thing that the thing that people don't realize, people hear do rodents and like, oh my God, that sounds like a lot of work. It sounds super dirty. It's like, okay, it can be, but not probably what the scale that you need. Like, I have right now with some babies, like 240 something snakes in the house here, actually more, like almost 260. And I feed, like, as far as like individual rodents goes,
Yep.
obviously when it comes to the bigger rats, they're expensive, but I buy like 20 at a time. I have 28 pans of rodents and then 3 cages of quail outside of my backyard, and that takes care of 90+% of my feeder needs for a collection of my size, and maybe takes me a cumulative total of 4 hours a week, maybe 5, of actual work.
The other thing that I think is genuinely hard is like sometimes that 5 hours for someone that works like a full 40 hours a week at a day job,
sure,
like is
100%.
hard. And I think like
But then
the people, and not that like you're preaching like you have to do this, but like you as someone who's doing it full time, someone like Emilio, who I'm very close with, like you guys have that time to do it, and like like props to you, like as you should. Like you guys save a shit ton of money. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like someone like, I don't know, that works like a dog just like probably doesn't have that time to do rodents on top of everything.
100%. And I guess I'll qualify that by saying the way that I do my feeding, I'm feeding them every day, where like if you were just using Missouri, you just load that feeder up when you clean them once a week. But like you could do a third of what I do, save thousands of dollars a year, and work your cleaning your rodents takes you an hour a week.
Right.
Tell me you can't find an hour a week.
Yeah, no, fair.
But even like, I remember Gary Scavino did a great video back during COVID of like explaining why he always keeps like 3 mouse pans at any point in time, and just like how much he feels that it benefits him and how little it actually takes.
That's all I wish I could have. I'd literally have like 2 or 3 small.
Your fiance
like
wouldn't have no idea.
She would. She would.
You could hide it super effectively. It wouldn't even smell.
I might be able to, but we'll see. I don't know.
So, but yeah, I mean, there's obviously it's not going to be a hard and fast rule, but generally speaking, I think if you want to be successful, I mean, let's just call it profitable. That's what we're talking about. If you want your hobby to pay for itself and then some, most of the time, producing your own feeders will be a very big part of that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, I mean, last year.
And sometimes making money on it.
Yeah. Oh, and if you can do that, oh my God, it's huge. I think last year I spent almost $5,000 on rats for my collection, and that's for maybe 10% of my overall feeder needs.
Yeah.
Obviously, that the dollar amount is not going to translate when you get into smaller stuff, but like, for instance, I typically produce 20 to 40 soft furs a week that are like wean rat, small rat size.
Okay.
Go on to any of the retailers' websites. Those rats are like $3 to $4.
Nah, it's terrible.
And like my feed mix that I make, which is more expensive than like if you were to do Missouri or whatever, like a tub that lasts me like a week and a half to 2 weeks of feed cost me probably like $30 to $35 to assemble.
Yeah.
I have my bedding expenses, which I also buy like nice bedding just because I prefer to work with it. If I had more rodents, I wouldn't. It's just such an extreme savings. It can't be emphasized enough. Like, I probably put in the freezer at least a few $100s worth of feeders every single week. Probably even a little
I'm sure
$300-400 worth a week. So, and I'm spending $40 to produce, $40 to $50 maybe to produce that, plus a little time.
It's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think with that, I think that's a good place to wrap it for the night. I'm sure we'll be back on one of each other's shows in another year or so. we'll talk more about something.
No doubt. Yeah. I mean, and I guess for anybody who's more interested in this topic, one of my favorite podcasts I've done was all about small scale rodent production.
I've referenced it a bunch on here.
Sweet.
So if my viewers have not watched it yet, now you're hearing it from the man's mouth himself. But yes, I've referenced that roundtable many a times.
Awesome. Yeah, that episode, I had that idea for a while, and it's kind of funny because like the panel of guests changed from the morning of the show to the actual show. And but yeah, I mean, it ended up being everything I wanted it to be and so much more. So yeah. If you have even the most remote interest in this topic or need some convincing, if you need convincing, that will achieve the goal of convincing you.
Yeah. I should have re-listened to it.
Listen to it without your fiance.
I don't. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I would recommend checking that one out. It was a good one. It was an earlier episode. It was somewhere maybe like 60s or something like that. So
it was probably, if I had to guess, a year and a half ago, because I think the last time I had you on was after that episode, and I think we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, it was definitely more than that. So, but yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
A good one.
Well, all right, man. As always, I have the link to your Instagram in the description at Scrub Shepherd. Anyone who's not following Steven, you absolutely should. Go subscribe to his YouTube. And you can listen to Kush's Corner on the Trap Talk Reptile Network on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Awesome.
Catch
it on the and catch it on the audio platforms afterwards. But other than that, Steven, any final words for the audience here at home?
Yeah, I mean, thank you guys for checking out the episode. If you're still with us at this point, really appreciate it, big time. I mean, Joe, you've built an awesome thing over here. I know you have a very loyal audience, and it's super cool. And it's also like, for guys in our age demographic, there's not a lot of us who are like really taking this as seriously as we do. So to be able to connect is always awesome on that as well.
Definitely. Yeah, talking about that was a big chunk of our last conversation. See how I always say having the conversations will always change. This is why, you have the same guests on multiple times.
Absolutely.
So we always change the topic.
No doubt.
But yeah, thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah. With that, once again, big thank you to David Deem over at Temporalis Enterprises for sponsoring the show. If you're looking for your next milk snake, look no further than David at Temporalis Enterprises. Sign up for his newsletter. Follow him on Instagram. Links in the description below. And again, big thank you to our new sponsor, Phenome Precision Genetics. Guys, Phenome is looking to change the game with colubrid shed testing. Go ahead and send in your sheds for research. They're looking especially for known sexed animals as well as any morph combos. They're using it all for research, regardless of species. So any colubrids you have, go ahead and send those in. Instructions and links are in the description below. Check that out. But once again, thank you all for tuning in tonight. This was episode number 114 of the Colubrid Corruption Podcast with Steven Kush. Thank you all. Have a great night. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.